Welcome to Which Side Do You Want, where we talk all things tennis. I'm your co-host, Ruffin Thornton, and I'll be joined by my good friend, James Skinner.
Unlike most tennis podcasts, we cover hot topics, from the lawns to the concrete, from the pros to the park, and all things in between. Welcome to Which Side Do You Want?
All right, welcome back, tennis and racket sport fans, to our podcast, our first podcast of the 2024 calendar year. So I'm here with my good friend and co-host, the coach of Monacan High School's Chiefs, Mr. James Skinner. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing all right, Ruffin. How are you? Happy New Year to you, my brother.
Happy New Year to you.
Yes.
It's a little late, but we'll accept it.
You know,
It's
it's
the
better
first
late than
one.
never. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, so, but how you doing? How's the team doing?
Well, we haven't started yet, but we're going to start real soon.
Right.
The season, we'll start practicing next month.
Right? Okay.
And get right into the season.
February's right around the corner.
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right.
so-
So hope you all out there conditioning,
Yes.
getting ready.
Getting ready.
We're gonna work.
and make sure for those Monacan tennis players, hey, listen to your coach. He knows what he's talking about. Anyway.
Thank you, Ruff.
So we're not going to dilly-dally this today. We're going to get right to it and just talk about the latest Grand Slam of the first of the year, the 2024 Australian Open.
Yes.
So this year we had some exciting and intriguing storylines in this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because we were wondering whether or not Novak was going to get to number 11 and increase his Grand Slam storyline. We were going to see if Sabalenka was going to defend her title, you know, as a Grand Slam winner, and a few others. At the end of last year, we talked about wanting to see the American men and women do better. Certainly the women have been doing well, but we wanted to see the American men do well. So, but we're going to just keep it short and simple this podcast and just talk about just the winners. You know, we'll talk about the men, the women, the doubles on both men's and women's, and you know, just an interesting point. So, Coach, I'm gonna throw it to you. Which side do you want? Who do you want to talk about first?
Well, I'll tell you, we'll go with the women today, and we'll talk about Miss Sabalenka, who won her second Australian Open title in a row,
right?
And she has, I think, successfully made it to 6 straight Grand Slam semifinals, which is a record that is, I think, the last person to achieve that. It's been a while. It's been several years since someone has achieved that, which is a phenomenal mark that she's been that consistent and that good. And out of those 6 semifinals, she's got 2 titles, 2 championships. So amazing. Yeah, amazing display. She ran through this tournament.
Oh, yes, she did.
I mean, she ran through it like water.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
and, you know, think about it. The top women players in the world, she had a couple of 6-0 sets.
Right, that third round match against Serenko.
One, and she was 2-3 and 2-2 and 1.
At all.
Not at all. She was just blowing through them. But she did run into one little roadblock. Right. You know, Corey Coco Gauff gave her the most. I mean, and actually, Gauff almost pulled off that first set. Yeah. And I thought if she had stolen that first set from her, you know, I think Sabalenka, that would have put something in her head and would have made it just like the U.S. Open. You know, I think it would have been a different match had Gauff won that first set and took, you know, and went up 1-0. And then with her, that being the first set that she would have lost in the tournament, I think would have been a different match.
Right. Yeah. You definitely are right. When if she gets that momentum swing, it would have been interesting. Especially like you said, she didn't lose a set during the whole fortnight, so
nobody came even close to her.
Yeah, I mean, except for Coco.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking until she met up with Gauff, and Gauff served for that first set, man. I mean, she should have had it. And the thing is, I think everybody's talking about how, you know, they're still saying that, you know, who is she the best player in the world? And I still think she's very, very good.
Right.
And she has all the skills, but I think will there be a dominant player? I think, Swiatek is that one that still sits out as the most dominant single player.
Think so. Yeah.
But I think this year, we're gonna have more than 2 Grand Slam titles this year. That's just my take on it. I think we're not gonna have one player to just dominate and just win everything.
Yeah.
Or 2 players. I think we might 3, possibly 4.
Yeah,
possibly 4.
On the women's side, it is kind of wide open because barring any major injuries like we've seen from some of the top players, you're right. It's just consistent, and you never know who's going to win.
Exactly.
The more forceful players or the more aggressive players like a Swiatek, like a Sabalenka are going to have their say.
Right.
But you've got the defenders who are going to do well. The next slam is the French. So that's going to, favor those that defend really well. So.
Yeah. And then another thing too, Ruffin, this tournament, you had a lot of young players come up who are hungry and are fearless. Yeah. I mean, Moskova.
Yeah.
Yeah. She took out Swiatek, 19 years old.
I know.
Another great track player.
I know. They're
pumping them out.
It's like chiclets.
Boy. Yeah, but I mean, just the poise and she just held it down and no fear. There was no hesitation. She just went after it. She did exactly what we always say how you have to do it. You got to go at Swiatek and take it to her. And she did. And advanced. And so she's somebody we're going to be looking at in the future. And of course, everybody, the perennial darling Andreeva, everybody, 16, and everybody's waiting for her to explode and be all of this.
I see what she fights, but I don't see anything, really outstanding in her game other than she's consistent right now, and people don't know how to play her.
Right. But they will learn.
Right.
That's the key. It's like you come on the scene and no one hasn't really studied your game or know, but 1 or 2 tournaments, don't worry. They have coaches that'll let them know, okay, this is what she's doing. They'll look and see what their patterns are and then design your game to counteract. And remember, we're talking about women athletes, both men and women, who have incredible tennis acumen. They understand this game better than most, okay, and understand the nuances and how you configure and which angle to hit and which spin to hit and what. They figure that stuff out, and so we'll see. You're right. Time will tell how good she is and how good she'll become.
Yeah.
And just other thing too on the women's side, we had some standouts here. I think Sabalenka, the finals against Qinwen Zhen.
Yeah.
All right, Qinwen Zhen, who, we've talked about her before when she was like an 18 or 19-year-old. We knew she was going to be good.
She was coming.
She played that French Open match she had against Swiatek when she was 19. That let us know, this girl is for real.
Right.
And but I think in that finals, I think that she her first final, she's still very young, very new.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think her potential is way up and way high. I look for big things. She's the first Asian woman or Chinese Asian woman to make a final since Li Na did it.
Right.
And I think the lot's on her, but she has I like her attitude, man.
Yeah,
she is, she's serious when she's playing, but then when she comes down and she's just like, just really, I think she has, everything prioritized as far as her game's athletic. Hit more aces than anybody on there. She's leading the women in aces. So
she got that big serve.
Yeah, it's got a big serve, but it's kind of deceptive, It just kind of. But I think she was a little overwhelmed. She did not play as well as I think she could have. But
no, but
who would? I mean,
your first slam.
Yeah, so the French Open, and I think Sabalenka took advantage of that, and she just never gave her a chance. She just took time away from her. She overpowered her, moved her around the court, and just made it difficult for her to get her foot in the door. And so, Sabalenka takes another title. But we look at a few other players that stood out when we talk about golf with the Americans, but also Navarro made a scene. This young lady, I feel like is going to have a future in this game.
Yeah, even though she played on a couple years of collegiate tennis, she looks seasoned already. Emma Navarro is a good player, solid, no real weaknesses. But hopefully, again, like I said before, on the women's side, the American side on the women's side, I should say the American on the women's side definitely they got it together.
Yeah,
we don't have to worry about the women.
Yeah, I think we got some coming up, and one day we'll talk about these young players because there are a lot of young kids in the pipeline coming up from the juniors and who are quite impressive, I think. And but yeah, I think Navarro, she impressed me. Another Wahoo, UVA's got a couple. I got to do that for my wife, man. Right. She's a UVA alum, so I got to throw that out there. But okay. But yeah, I mean, she played tennis at University of Virginia. Outstanding record. Won an NCAA championship. Like Collins. Collins, another Wahoo. She was a transplant Wahoo, but she was still a Wahoo. And came out there and played. Played her way, playing those lower tournaments. Mm-hmm. Okay, she played the 150s and she did those 250s and she did this. But to get her points so that she can get into these. And people look at that and say, well, she didn't play. Well, she had to stay to win. You had to play. And that's how you get your points. She did it smart. And, and also, her father, another daughter of a billionaire, because her father apparently is extremely rich, extremely wealthy, owns sports teams. And it's kind of like Pegula. But I don't say that to in any way put down their ability and their effort. Right. Both Navarro and Pegula, they earned it. They worked.
They definitely worked.
Yeah. It didn't hurt that they had the backings, to get, but they still have to put the time in, because if a billionaire, having a billionaire father was a prerequisite to being a champion, then it would be an elite club. Right. You don't see any. Most of, they're a rarity. Right. Because it takes more than just having the money. You got to have the heart and the desire to go out there and work. And Pegula, and they all say the same thing. Everyone talks about how hard Pegula works. And Navarro's the same way. She has that same reputation as somebody who works her behind off, and
And the collegiate life has a lot to say about that. That shows you, there is still a lot of benefits. Look at Ben Shelton. He's doing well because he spent a year at the collegiate ranks.
But like 2 years actually. Plays for his dad. But still, you're right. I mean, I think and they bring that kind of college, that team kind of concept in that play, and so they're not afraid of playing in front of large crowds because they play in front of, most of those top tier collegiate programs have a following. If you play at Florida, it's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
They have people that come to see them play tennis. It's not like, other smaller schools and stuff where tennis is not that big, but there it is a big deal. Right. And you play for Stanford or somewhere like that. That's a big deal. Those people come to see because they know a lot of these players are going to move on and play at a higher level because they're just that top flight player. But yeah, she impressed me. And I think the overall, the question is whether or not Sabalenka is the best player right now. And you question that because...
Yeah, I mean, the results of the Australian, they speak for themselves. But at the end of the day, the Australian Open is, the court surface is one of the slower of the Grand Slams. So that, not like the French where the clay, you have to learn how to play on clay. It's an equalizer because it's a hard court, but also the conditions don't necessarily favor one over the other. So that's why I say Iga hadn't had the best results at the Australian Open. I think that's probably, aside from Wimbledon, her worst slam. But, I still think Iga's better overall. Because, again, one of the main differences between Iga and Sabalenka is her movement. She's able to just defend way better. And that shows up. That is one of the weaknesses of Sabalenka. But that's just me.
Yeah. I think on clay, I think you got to give Swiatek the edge. On clay, her game is just more suited to me on clay. And also it takes away Sabalenka's ability to take her time in a way. She has more time to set up, hit her shots and stuff, and create and develop her points. And so we'll see. I'm kind of with you on one level. I'm not going to go and say that she is the best player in the world right at this moment. She was the best player in this tournament.
Right.
But I think this year, it's going to be really hard to determine a solid number one. We'll see who holds that top spot for the majority of the bulk of the year. But I'm kind of like you. I would not say that she is the best player in the world right now.
Right.
She's playing the best, but is she the best? I don't know. You know, look, golf, like I said, and I know everybody's going to say, oh, man, you just like golf. I do, but I like her, but she is also a doggone good player. And I think that she's the type of player that could give Sabalenka trouble because Sabalenka relies on hitting those big ground strokes and taking you off the court and taking away your time.
Right.
See, golf has something that can counteract that, and that's speed, bro. She has that
speed doesn't always.
I think for her it helps because she can get to those shots. Sabalenka can't hit shots so far out that she can't get them, and not only get them, but send them back with a little interest.
Sure.
And she's used to being able to hit those big ground strokes, send you way off court, come in and put that volley away. I just feel like with golf, she has that speed that can counteract that. And you're right, speed isn't the only thing, but she knows how to use her speed. Yeah. That's the key. Can you use it? You get to that ball, can you do something with it when you get there? Yeah. And I feel golf can do that. So I think she is one that could give Sabalenka fits. On clay, I think Swiatek, I think she's going to run through the French. I just think she is just that, on that surface, her game is just another level, another notch above others. So, and in Wimbledon, roll the dice, who's going to come out? We may have a first time Wimbledon champion this year. I really do. I think it's wide open. U.S. Open, can golf come back and defend those points? Right. Is her mindset ready to do it? So, like I said, is she the best player? I think there are a lot of good players out there, and we shall see. Yep. Okay, yeah, so that's it for the ladies, Ruff. So what do you see with the men's side of the draw?
Well, on the men's side, we got to, tip our hat, as I always say, to the winner of his first Grand Slam. We kind of knew that Yannick Sinner was that dude, but we had to see it. And he kind of showed us late last year, at the end of last year, leading Italy to a Grand Slam, to the
Davis Cup.
The Davis Cup win, taking out Novak in the Nido finals, and then doing it again in the Davis Cup. First time that Novak had lost twice to the same player within that shorter time frame.
Right.
Not since probably Nadal or Rogers, or even Andy Murray. But anyway, we got to tip our hats to Yannick because he took out Medvedev, and more so than that, even though at the beginning of the finals, it was a little he was thrown off by the fact that Medvedev changed his tactics. The fact that he was able to right the ship and come back, and now Medvedev actually he started to tire. He played more hours than anybody else that in the tournament over a full day, over the fortnight.
Exactly.
So, but throughout, Yannick was playing lights out. In fact, he hadn't lost a set, just like Sabalenka, up until he faced Novak in the semis. So, and Yannick definitely was playing so well until he got to the finals, and those first two sets just looked a little off. And part of it was Medvedev, part of it was, the occasion, his first Grand Slam final. He was a bit of a favorite to win that final. And certainly the way he played, it's his first slam, but he still played. And he played very, very well. Medvedev did all he could, but at the end of the day, we could start to see him, especially late in the third set when he started to not hold his serve well.
Oh my gosh.
And the longer the points went, the more it favored Yannick.
Yes.
And you could see it. So I was really pleased and happy to see that. And I'm going to come back to that because for me, one of the most important moments of the tournament was dealing with Yannick. So I'll come back to that. So I'm glad to see that Yannick is now that dude. I got a text message from one of our buddies about, is he that player now? Well, has he arrived? I would say, he's arrived.
Yeah.
You beat the number one player 3 out of 4 times when you face him. I think you've arrived.
Yeah,
you win a Grand Slam, you've arrived.
You're there. Yep, you are there.
So I'll tip my hat off to Yannick, you know, because
22 years old.
22 years old.
He's upside, way up.
Way up. Just as much, maybe not as much as Carlos Alcaraz, but
it's the future, man.
That's the future. We can see it.
Yep.
You know, so I really like Yannick, and I really like the fact that he won his first Grand Slam.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I expect him to do a whole lot this year now that he's gotten that first one out the way.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Well, that's that. I just keep thinking about that third set and that 15-30 point that Medvedev was serving, and they had a 27 shot rally.
Yep, I remember that.
They were just slamming, bam, bam, bam. And the thing is, Medvedev gave him everything he had.
He did.
He hit some angles that would have dropped most players.
Right.
And Sinner came back, covered it, came back, bring some more.
Right.
And finally finished it off with a running forehand down the line.
Just like the one that he won the tournament.
Yes.
On, you know?
And and it was just like, then he stood there and he's looking at Medvedev, and he has this look like, no matter what you got, I got an answer for it.
Right.
You know, he just has this look. He's looking at him like,
right.
Yeah, and so he knows that, but then again, Medvedev knew that too.
Yeah,
because it just kind of went.
He gave it his best. But,
yeah,
you know, Medvedev was like, "This is a diminishing returns here, diminishing returns."
Hey, you know,
but that's enough for the singles side. So who you got on the? Who would you like to talk about on the doubles side?
Well, I'm just going to throw my shout out here. Rohan Bopanna. Folks, Rohan Bopanna, he has been playing tennis and doubles and good doubles for a long time. He had some injuries, and he took a break. He wasn't winning any matches. Right. But then 2 great things. He married a beautiful lady, had a little girl, and that whole thing encouraged him to come back. Right. And to play doubles. And let's just shout out at 43, which I think is still very young, but not in professional tennis terms, as not. He's a dinosaur. But at 43 years old, he is now the number 1 doubles player in the world.
Right. And he's the oldest first time number 1 doubles player in the world. And to add to that, he also won his very first doubles Grand Slam.
Grand Slam, yeah.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, I mean, just playing, staying in the game, you know, going to the heartaches and the ups and downs. And they say, you know, instead of doing the fitness way, he's just started doing yoga. Because, you know, it was too much of a strain on his body. So he's doing yoga and meditation, stuff like that. But I'm just, man, my hat's off to him. I'm proud of him. Keep going, Bopanna. You know, he's, you know, and you know, what a great story.
Yeah,
that was a great
it really
story.
is. You're right.
Great story.
You know, us old guys, you know, we're happy to see. And like you said, you know, 43 is young, but you know, especially the way today's sport is going, you still can play effective doubles in your 40s. Yes. You know, you look at some of the other Indian players that played well into their 40s.
Yep.
Leander Pace.
Man. Oh my gosh.
The Bryan brothers were playing really well into their late 30s and mid 40s.
Yep.
So, you know, heck, even on the women's side, Martina Navratilova
won a Grand Slam title at 50.
At 50. So, you know, you can still do it if you're willing to put in the work. Doubles definitely is not so much about your physical ability, but your ability to stay on the court and bring the ball back.
Exactly. And he was able to do that and get a title. And that was my thing. You can go ahead on if you want to say anything.
Oh, no. I like that.
Yeah.
You know, because we want to shout out to the doubles winners on the men's side.
Yeah.
I'll do the same thing on the women's side. You know, Su-Wei Shui. You know, she paired up with her partner, one of many over the course of her career, Elise Mertens, and she won not only the women's doubles, but she also won the mixed doubles. Now, you know, she had already announced at the end of 2023 that her singles days were over.
We're done.
She tried it. This was her last singles tournament.
Yeah.
She lost in the second round or first round of the qualies of the Australian. I mean,
but
honestly,
her,
she's 700 in the world. So she probably didn't have a lot of high expectations, but still.
But that's not the side of the bread that's buttered for her.
she got well over $11 million in prize winnings on that double side.
Right,
so she's doing something right.
Oh my God.
She living large and not worried about her singles career.
And I understand Martina. I love Martina, man. Martina was an incredible doubles player.
Mm-hmm.
She and Pam Shriver, they were like unbeatable for a while. But I'm going to tell you, and also Martina had the longevity. Right. She continued playing competitive doubles, so you can't take anything away from her. But I also need to put he say, Shui.
Right.
We need to put her in the mix too.
Yeah.
As one of the best, one of the greatest doubles players of all time.
Certainly female.
Yeah, female. Yeah. All she does is win matches. And she's played with like numerous. She's helped a whole lot of people get a Grand Slam title, get a lot of hardware, get a Grand Slam title. And I'm sure people are waiting. Man, I hope she calls me.
Right.
Hey, he said, you want to call?
Right.
Call me.
Yep.
And she is she hits masters with slices and chops and dinks and lobs, and she's the master of the block. I've seen her take the pace out of a whole lot of heavy, hard shots. People think they can hit through her, and they can't.
No.
And she just blocks stuff back at perfect angles and just,
Yeah, and you're not going to really do that in doubles anyway. You're not going to get hit off the court.
No.
Maybe when the Williams sisters were at their peak, they would hit you off the court no matter who you were because they just had power. But, aside from them, who else, even in today's game, is going to be able to do that?
Not even in mixed doubles,
right?
Man. I mean, the men, and a lot of men don't play mixed doubles because mixed doubles will humble you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there are women out there that can take all the heat you got and they will block it right back. And so a lot of men don't want to play because of their ego. Right. They don't want their ego attack. I'm like, man, I don't play mixed doubles. But that's how you test your ability and your skill, man. But she's a phenomenal player, and that was hats off to her. Incredible, man. Incredible tournament she had. Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's cool. I mean, because we need to celebrate these older players, especially with the young generation coming fast and furious. Yeah. And we want to see the sport grow, but we also want to celebrate those players that have been around for a while, as long as we can see them, because they're entertaining as well.
Yep.
So let me ask you this: what was your most surprising moment in the tournament?
Okay, I would say I'm just going to focus on one. There were a couple of surprises to me. I think the biggest surprise to me was the young Czech player, Waskova. I messed the name up. Liskova.
Right.
No, come on, James. I'm sorry. Yes. Noskova. I was right. Noskova. Right. That was a surprise. Because it surprised me because I'd never heard of her.
Right.
She was, and just the way she played, and I'm like, where has this kid been?
Right,
19, really? But there are a lot of young players out there who are hungry. Like you said
earlier, Andreeva is one of those players, and they're next year we'll be talking about 2, 3, 4 others.
Yeah.
Especially on the women's side.
They're young girls on the move, and it's just that that surprised me the way she beat Swiatek. I just knew, okay, she's gonna break at some point.
Right.
She ain't gonna keep playing like that, but she just held her, and then she finally Swiatek ended up dropping.
Right.
And that was to me one of the biggest surprises. I just had Swiatek penciled into the finals. I don't know about winning, but I had her penciled into the finals. And
it's a fair draw because the draw was not really imposing for the players that were in her half of the draw.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. The tough players were actually on the bottom half.
You're right. They're all kind of in one section. Right. Yeah. And that top half, man, had opened up like a butterfly. There were just so many seeds.
Yeah, so many seeds dropped at the beginning of the tournament. Yep. So we forgot about that.
Yeah. And so, you had that path. Somebody had a path to it, and you take advantage of it and get there. Yep.
Well, my most surprising moment in the tournament was that semifinals match against Yannick with Novak.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, Novak, go. Enough said. If you want to go back to a couple of episodes,
our GOAT podcast,
our GOAT podcast.
That was what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago. Novak's metrics were undeniable then, and they're even more so now.
Yeah.
So, and to see Novak not only play this badly, not only did he play badly, I mean, he's by far the greatest returner we've seen on the men's side. He couldn't put serves back in play.
Yeah.
That was surprising.
Yeah.
And the fact that he had so many unforced errors. Now, again, the young guy on the other side of the net had a whole lot to do with
that. Yeah.
But Novak, he was, let's call it what it was. Novak was fighting some injuries. He had a wrist injury coming into the tournament, which probably didn't allow him to train probably like he wanted to. So, but he also looked tired. I mean, again, he'll turn 37 or 38 this year?
Yeah, I think it's 38, I think.
Yeah, so he's getting there. If he's 36, 37, something like that, whatever it is, you guys,
let us
check
know.
us on that. Let us know on that. But he started to see the signs that we ultimately know we're going to see.
Yeah.
Father Time is undefeated.
That's right.
So ultimately he looked tired.
Yeah.
Now again, Yannick Sinner had a whole lot to do. He served well.
Yeah.
He played to the moment. But again, Novak didn't necessarily play. From a tactical standpoint, the way I looked at that match, Novak seemed to only play well when he was hitting his forehand cross court. Because even the reliability of his backhand throughout that entire match was not what we're used to. In fact, his after-match press conference, he said that he was a little surprised at how badly he played as well. So that, for me, was the most surprising moment, considering he's owned the Australian Open.
Yeah, that's his tournament. His first Grand Slam title, and he has dominated it I have anybody we've seen.
Other than Nadal.
Yeah, other than Nadal.
At the French.
And, at the French, exactly. But and people are also talking about he played during the day. That's the jinx. He normally plays most of his matches at night, and this time he played today.
He gets used to that. You get to the semis and finals, you're playing in the day.
Yeah. So I kind of agree with you. I think you're not going to be able to do it forever.
Right.
And even a player as great as Novak Djokovic, think about it, and folks out there, how difficult it is first to get to this level.
Right.
And then how difficult it is to play in a Grand Slam, in much less tournaments, major tournaments, but a Grand Slam's is a different animal.
Right.
It's a fortnight. It's 2 weeks you got to play, and you're playing every other day.
Right.
And in between then, you're practicing, conditioning, and you've done this 10, 15, 20 years of your life.
Yeah, I know.
Okay? At some point, like you said, Father Time is going to
feed it. He's going to catch up.
Hey, I'm here.
Right.
And so I'm. A lot of people are saying what you said, and he played so poorly, and I say yes, he did not play. He was not textbook or Djokovic that we've seen before. But I also agree with you that Sinner has something to do with that. Sinner kept the pressure because we've seen Djokovic play lousy and win.
Right.
We've seen him play long and win.
Yep.
We've seen him not have his 100% game together and still find a way to win.
True.
And he searched for ways to win this match.
But he just couldn't find those answers this time.
Couldn't find the answers this time.
And again, we're so used to him finding a way, especially in the critical matches like the Grand Slams.
Right.
And it just didn't happen.
And one other thing, Ruff, the intimidation factor with Sinner is just not there.
Absolutely.
He's not scared. He's not afraid of anybody.
No.
But he's particularly not afraid of Djokovic.
And again, 3 out of 4 saying, hey, I know who you are. Now, this may be your best 3 out of 5, but the last 2 times we faced off, I mean, and they were, you think about the 2 tournaments that he lost, 2 tournaments, the 2 matches that he lost to Novak, that Novak lost to Sinner, they were tight sets.
Yeah.
this was not really a tight set. That's what was so surprising to me.
Yeah.
Because those first 2 sets, I was like, what?
Yeah.
But anyway.
And like you said, that match point, that forehand winner down the line was an exclamation point. He was like, oh my gosh. What?
Yeah, I know.
What?
That just lets you know he has arrived.
He has arrived. Yeah, center. He's and he's got Killer Cahill in his corner now. Right. Well, all Cahill does is help people win Grand Slam titles.
Yeah, that's it.
He's in your box. You're gonna win a Grand Slam.
You should be definitely. So Francis Tiafoe, get him in.
Man, if you're listening, Francis, get somebody to talk to Cahill.
Right.
But that's incredible tournament. I'm just excited about the year, man. This was a good way to get it kicking.
Definitely good way to get the new year started.
I can't wait to see the Miami Open and going to California too.
Yeah, Sunshine
Double, man. It's amazing.
Right. Well, that sounds like that's a good way to start the new year.
Yes,
the Australian Open definitely got our juices flowing.
Oh, yes, it did. And one real quick, Yvonne Goolagong-Kale, that they recognized her. And everybody, if you don't know who she is, she was a tennis player back in the 70s, Australian, and she's noted one thing. She's got a couple Grand Slam titles under her belt, and first woman to win after being pregnant, being a mom, came back and won the Wimbledon title.
Right.
And also to the first Aboriginal or Australian of Aboriginal descent to come at the upper echelons. And I'll never forget when I was little, I was young, and I saw her win the Australian Open title. And when I remember the woman said, you're the first Aborigine to win this title. And I'll never forget her just breaking down and crying. And we don't understand what that dynamic is. Some of us do understand, but how the Aboriginal people there in Australia, they've been fighting and struggling for equality for a long time. And she was just such a symbol to a lot of people, because at that time she was a symbol to us too, because we got to see a brown person winning.
Absolutely, person of color.
Yeah, person of color. She was amazing. Yeah, just so hats off that they recognized her and her achievements, and that she was out there handing out those trophies.
That's great, and that's what you want to see.
Yep.
Homegrown.
Yep.
Well, with that said, again, thanks everyone for listening to our podcast. We look forward to entertaining you about some of our views on tennis going forward. So look for James and I throughout the year. And if you like us, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. And we'll see you on the tennis court. And as we always say, James,
let's go ahead and hit some tennis balls.
Hit a tennis ball.